Hello and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AWOL, and you can see by the screen here that we are probably going to use a color that's close to what I usually use in my templates. And yeah, that's quite the thing because this is one of the two colors that I'm doing. I am trying to make another wall hanging. Kind of like the way that the first one went. Thought we would try it again, but I kind of wanted to mess with the pattern a bit. Um, so this is one of my two colors. And that's starting off with that my little diamond thing in the center. So, does that seem about right? Sure. Let's get the other color. Depending on where you click, it's like such a narrow little gap that it grabs from. And the reason I have such a narrow gap is because sometimes I have to grab from inside this little box. There's a way that you can make it so that way it grabs by average, like everything that's sort of around it. And that can get kind of weird. Like if we are kind of closer to the black line, suddenly the color that you're grabbing ends up much darker. So just a heads up if you're playing with the tools, this can be a problem. And yeah, I'm going to kind of be coloring in a lot of the underlying strings kind of as we go, because I don't want this to be too crazy. So, and you might notice this is kind of like the other pattern that we were messing with. I think it's like the 15th of my patterns. So, yes, very much like that. But it goes out much, much bigger. So this is 21 strings on either side, so 42 in all. Which makes it fairly big. It'll make for an amazing kumi, honestly. When my wife puts her mind to it like this, I just know this is going to turn out really super cool. All right. And in some ways, I think this is a little bit easier coloring it in as we go. I'm kind of realizing like, this isn't bad. All right. So now I think this whole row gets this color. Right? Okay. And then I know that these come out here, and then that's there. And then there's a whole row out here. You may notice too, I'm only doing 1/4 of this because the whole thing can flip and repeat, and there's no sense in me having to make this any harder on myself than necessary. So also kind of keeps the videos from ending up being, you know, a few hours long because honestly, if I were to try to shade in everything and, you know, especially on something so big, yeah, it could go really, really long. I don't want that. I'm pretty sure you don't want that either. Whoa. You kind of, little too zoomed out to be targeting these little tiny boxes. So okay. And we can kind of see that, you know, it is almost all just every other one. But once again, it does have more browns than it has of this. It's like a teal, I guess. Right. Okay. And at some point, I have to make an executive decision about what happens in this next square. So there's two possibilities here, and one of them is this long line that runs up the side could continue out from this point. And if we do that, you pretty much end up with a brown here and a brown dot here, and it just goes, and like you can make this whole pattern again off to the side, which is great if we ever want to double this in the future. Or we go off of this line here instead, which makes this part here smaller, which then changes the mathematics of this whole squiggle thing in here, which both technically work and or can be doubled. It's just a question of how much do we really like this part here. So that is going to be what I'm thinking about as I'm filling these parts in. Because both, in my mind, have merit. Both could be cool. And technically, we could try both. How's that for an idea? I can, once I have this filled in as far as I can take it for this part, I can just choose to duplicate. And then I can do two different versions. It kind of extends the length of how long the video goes, but we get two different versions. Somehow that seems like the right answer. Yeah, I kind of. That's all correct. Right. And now all I have left to decide is which one do I do first? Oops. Mind you, there's going to be a lot of copying and pasting and trying to make this work out kind of quickly, but I kind of have to get the first part of it started in order to make any of that happen. All right, so that's our whole first segment. I can come up here to image and it's right at the top. It says duplicate, bam. So now we have two of these to work with. So, let's go with the first one where I was saying that both pieces are the same. Right? I don't know why well, I do know why. I don't know why I try to not zoom in so far. But the reality is I'm trying to get as many squares on the screen and hit it. But when I'm zoomed out as far as all that, it makes it really hard to hit the target, which, not great. So this here is what this will make when it mirrors. And then this is what's on both of those sides, right? No, something's wrong. Oh no, that's right. Wait, no. So off. That's right. Wow. What I should have done is I should have just taken these and put them in place first, which would have told me everything I needed to know. And now I can do that for the whole rest of it, and yeah. And then that goes back, and this goes out, and that goes there. Interesting. All right, so this is out that way. And so now that I know, I can do it without having this other part in place. And then this blue line comes out. It seems to me like our blue color is going to get used a lot more than the brown, despite the fact that there's more brown than there is of the blue. Which I can't say for certain, but it does certainly seem that way. Okay. I think I have this on fixed. Hang on. I think if we line this up on here, Control C, Control V, then I take my flip tool, and if I do it right there on the line, I can get this, and I can anchor that. That's pretty neat. Now I can take this. Well, wait. Because it's going to put the pink over top of the other part there. Oh. Wait, okay. Control C, Control V. So that's sitting exactly right over the spot. So we're going to put this to a new layer for now. We're going to stay on that layer. And I need to change the size of my eraser tool. Aha. Now I can make the eraser tool even bigger still. Does this constitute cheating? Maybe a little bit, sure. Certainly made it all go a lot faster, though. Yeah, look at how much more we got up there. All right, so now I can take that layer and merge it down. So that all became one big solid thing. Oh, look at that. I mean, we are right up at the very top up here. So that's awesome. So now I can take this select tool and take this whole top area here, the flip tool. Oops, Control C. Control C, Control V. Now flip on the line. So it turns out if you flip on the line, it keeps everything perfectly lined up. Like, I didn't know that before. This is a really super recent discovery that I love. So there's that whole thing where I was talking about being a square with the 4 diamonds. That's that right there. All right. Oh, I need to anchor that. So now I can take the whole top half, Control C, Control V, go back over here. And again, if you're on the line, it even knows which direction you're trying to flip it. So there we go. And anchored. So there's our pattern 1. Obviously, I still have to fill in a bunch of the underlying strings and stuff, but that gives you the overall look for it. Let's go take a look at this now. That was great. That was really cool. If I had done a little bit more of the underlying strings and stuff, I suspect that I would have almost no work left to do with this. Mind you, again, I would still just do the one top corner and then let the copying and stuff work. So if we go off with the same gist of where these things make that happen, right? Then I think we end up with something like this. So I don't know, like towards the middle of this one, how this like basically turns out. Um, why does that seem weird here? Oh, it is weird, that's why. Okay. Oh, that gets a little strange there too. Oh, that's kind of cool. Hang on, so wait, this gets a diamond down here. Right? I know if this is, it's in like this. Is that right? Yeah, because then this is out here. Yeah, this makes something completely different. And then we end up with this sort of X thing over here. Wow. So yeah, that's very different. Um, and I'm sure all of this is going to fit in. This is kind of super basic. Oh, wait. Where does something changes up there? All right, let's do the magic again. So I'm using the grid lines to snap this on here. Control C, Control V, and flip. And then just anchor that layer. That's so cool. All right, now I'm gonna zoom out so we can get all of this. I guess I can be like kind of right in the middle of that one, right? Because then it puts it right on the line. Okay. Control C, Control V. Oh, see, look at that. Yeah, that actually made that a whole lot easier. So now we'll put that onto a new layer like we did last time. I guess we can use this big eraser tool. Okay. It is so efficient. So now you can see how our new pattern over here actually kind of works out and how it's different from our main thing. That brings us really close to the top, but not quite all the way. That's all right. Bring that over a bit. Okay, snap onto the grids. Flipping tool again. Oops, Control Z. Control Z. I forgot to, first off, layer merge down. Then I was supposed to have grabbed this part here first. I'm getting way so far ahead of myself, like I'm making silly mistakes. Okay, so I was supposed to copy and paste that. Then I do the flip tool. And that gives me the other side. Oh, I need to anchor that layer. Now I can select the top half, Control C, Control V, flip again, go down to the line, and it fills in, and anchor. And you can see our sides are completely different. So the two of them are very similar, not the same. I need to finish filling them in. I will do that, and then I will put these over on my webpage. If you guys want to try these out for yourself, you can. And then I will make a wall hanging out of it. And like I said, I have some ideas on how I want to try that differently than the last time. So that will be covered when I actually get around to making this. I don't know when I'll get to it. Obviously, I have the strings. It's just scheduling wise and stuff like that. Plus, this really takes a long time. So this might be something that I do, a couple hours a day until it's finished, which could be a long time. So something to look forward to. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I had some fun making this. I have to admit, that was a lot of fun. I do want to thank my Patreon supporters as well as my YouTube members for making this possible. I need their help to get the strings and cameras and all the kind of good stuff that makes these videos possible. So I really want to say how much I really appreciate you guys. I couldn't do it without you. So, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know when this video will come out. Hopefully it's soon. So, yeah. Anyways, don't get your strings in a bunch.